Speaking of the devil.
Okay, go ahead.
I mean, you probably go to the same place. You talking about Lil Nas X.
Oh, no, that's not the devil I was thinking about. I was thinking about Derek Jackson, but go ahead, Lil Nas X.
Him too.
Well, no, I was thinking when you said the devil, I was thinking of the video. David put me up on it because I wasn't gonna watch it. I saw pictures of it. I saw like screenshots, and I was like, I ain't watching that. And then David was like, man, you got to see it. This shit is hilarious. And it was. It was pretty hilarious. And I mean, just the video itself, like just watching the video, I'm like, this dude is a nut. And I understand he had his message behind it. But it's funny to me, and I agree. I know Damon A said it on the show. We talked about it. I completely agree. Like, the world getting an uproar about the smallest things. Oh my God, this is nothing to get an uproar about. But everybody want to talk. I feel like that'd be pointed. Like people do that on purpose to make news to take you away from what's really important. You know, the George Floyd murder case is going on right now. But we talking more about Lil Nas X giving Satan a lap dance on the video. Please get the hell out of here with that. Anyways, I mean, I just thought that was crazy. You know.
I didn't watch the whole video. I was like, anything that's that, like, I don't want to see it. I did see clips of it, and I was like, what the hell? I understand he was like trying to make a point about his lifestyle and being condemned to hell and things like that. But like, people talk about how Black folks have bad credit and or are criminals or whatever. I'm not gonna make a point to be creative and make a video about having terrible credit and being a criminal just to make a point. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's other ways to do it. I just like I didn't watch the whole video. When I saw that pole slide, that stripper pole slide down the hill, I was like, oh, go there yourself, sir. I will not be partaking in this foolishness. Not at all. So yeah, it was not for me. No.
Yeah, it wasn't for me either. I didn't watch it because I just didn't want to see the lap dance or whatever was going on there. But my thing is, I don't dislike Lil Nas X. He's not really my music choice, but what I will say is that I've always liked what I thought he was, as far as he was lighthearted, fun, kind of, pretty secure in who he is. And I just don't know if this was the best business decision for him. You know, that's where I'm at with it. But I do understand that people want their artistic expression and the freedom of it. Yeah, and I agree that, the world is uproared about things that don't matter. But I just hope that this, of course, it got everybody talking, but he'd already achieved crossover success. So I just want him to be very careful with the business moves he makes, because then now you have a major conglomerate suing you, with what you did with Nike and the tennis shoe and all of that. So I just think it wasn't smart. So I wish he wouldn't have done it. I'm not a fan of it. I'm not gonna I don't plan to watch it, but I also wish that he would just make strategic moves, because if you have this platform and you want other homosexuals to have this platform and you want them to be taken seriously, and you understand that a large part of the world is still closed-minded when it comes to sexuality, then I think you need to be careful with the movements that you make. So I just want him to make smart business moves for the platform he believes that he's, representing.
What if to him this was a brilliant move and it was strategic? Because
I'm sure it was. To him.
But that's all that matters or whatnot. You know what I'm saying? This is his artistic expression. And whether one is gay or not, whether one is closed-minded or not, it doesn't matter. It's his artistic expression. The problem that I have is the fact that this is a young Black boy doing this when white men have been artistically expressing themselves in this manner for years or whatever through their art and stuff like that. And it's never a problem. We got statues of white men with young boys and girls fondling they penises and stuff like that, and that's not a problem. That's not appalling or none of that.
It is a problem. It's a problem.
Why are we not talking about that? Why is that not? You know what I'm saying? Why is that not an issue or whatever? Like, he's artistically expressing himself, whether you like it or not, really doesn't matter or whatever. And as far as Nike suing him, I don't think they're not. To me, I think that's like a cease and desist type thing. It's not like, okay, we're literally suing you for the money. Nike is trying to clear their name because of course you're talking about Satanists and all of that type of stuff or whatever. And they want to distance themselves from that, which that shouldn't even matter or whatever, you know.
Well, it does matter. That's trademark infringement. When you use somebody's likeness and you use the check, and if they did not agree to that, if that's the case, it starts with a cease and desist. That's how the lawsuits always start. So if he doesn't cease and desist, it's already a lawsuit that's being filed. So I just, but I agree with you with the statutes and everything. But I think that a lot of people, even white America, I don't think they don't know their history. We live in the age of social media. So I think if some of the things that have been acceptable in the past were to go on now, I do think, even though I understand white people would get away with more than a Black homosexual man, I still think that there would be more uproar today because people don't know. People have not toured these museums. A lot of people don't even know that these things exist. A lot of people don't even know what's in the Vatican. Like it's ridiculous that a lot of our religion is based on, like a lot of things that came out of the Vatican. And if you went to the Vatican, you'd be like, this all is demonic. Look at the gargoyles all over the building and things like that, but things that we couldn't even have. So I think people just don't know.
But even
that's what I think too. I think a lot of people judge what they see. When something is put out in their face, they judge what they see. They don't usually go back and look at it. And I see what you're saying. It probably is more scrutinized because he's a young Black man, or just a Black man in general, or a minority, whatever you want to say. White men tend to get away with whatever the hell they want to get away with in general. Yeah. So I do get exactly what you mean. The comparison should always be the same. It shouldn't be heightened because it's a certain group of people. But I will say this, like the one thing that he did that I think speaks to white people, whether it was a white man or not, was he brought religion into it. And white people, they serious about their religion. I believe if a white man did this, you would have the same backlash simply because of what it was about. Not because that was right or wrong. In general, it was about religion. Like white people, like the conservatives, they're serious about their religion. They really, really are. Saturday Night Live, they did a spoof about it where, this past Saturday where dude was pretending to be Lil Nas X, and then somebody was faking to be Britney Spears, like she had a talk show, and she was like, well, to balance everything, won't you give God a lap dance? And the dude was acting like God. And the comments that I seen, like I'm looking at it like I'm looking at it like this is crazy. Like they're silly at Saturday Night Live. But all the comments, and I follow Saturday Night Live. I look at the clips all the time, and I read the comments to see what people say as far as whether they think it's funny. Usually it's like, oh, that comment was stupid, or I mean that skit was stupid or it was hilarious. This was y'all wrong for this. Like everybody was like, a lot of people, it was way more, this is inappropriate because it was religion that they was talking about. So I think this specific thing has probably more heightened simply because of religion. I mean, I'm not going to say because he's not because he's Black. I think that's something to do with it too, of course. But I think religion does make a difference in this situation.
Okay. So speaking on religion or whatever, I mean, we had the punk rock era, which I guess it still exists and stuff like that, where they eating heads off of bats and talking about sacrificing and all that type of stuff or whatever. And nobody was up in arms about that. You know what I'm saying?
I think people were though.
They were. They were. Yeah, no. They actually were. We were in a different type of media age.
Yeah.
Well, that's true. I'll give you that.
We don't listen to that kind of music.
Yeah, but they listen to it though.
But the news,
them crazy white folks over there doing that. So
they were boycotting those people, just like when they were boycotting the NWA and the police era, that whole era with people and whatever because when I was growing up, that was thought of as devil worshiping music, right? That's crazy. Like just punk rock because they had the eyeliner on and whatever they look like. But I do remember it being a big uproar behind that, but it was a different type of uproar because you only saw it when you tuned in to 5 o'clock news or 6 o'clock. It wasn't, unless you picked up newspapers. You didn't see it.
What's the big deal though with the symbolism of devil worship? You know what I'm saying? I don't understand what the big deal is with that, because if you're like Christian or whatever, you know what I'm saying, and he's giving the devil a lap dance, so I don't understand like what's religious about that. If anything, the Satanists should be upset or something like that. Why are you upset? You know what I'm saying?
I understand why people would get upset. I think you have to like really think deeply into the situation to understand why a person like if I think you have to think deeply into the situation for yourself to be like, you know what, in the grand scheme of things, it's not a big deal. But on the surface, you look at something like that. What does Satan represent? Like, what is people like? What do we normally think about? We think about sacrificing babies and kids and stuff like that. We think about a lot of evil type stuff that whether it's true or not, what you see on movies, depictions, like people don't know. People who, when you think of Satan, even the devil worshipers, they probably think of this is what we do to worship Satan or whatever. Like, what is positive about it at all? Like, what is so that's what so like just me thinking about other people. Yeah, I can understand why people look at that and be like, nah, that's too much. But for me as an individual, I'm like, when I really just break it down, I'm like, this is a small, very small, minor thing. It's not it's not about to change the tide of our country. It's not about to change the tide of religion. People are not about to start worshiping the devil more because me as a person, I know that. But most people don't think that deep into it. They see it on the surface and it's terrible. And I'm gonna speak about it.
Don't like it.
Yeah.
They don't know. They don't know why they're outraged. They just
I was listening to a Satanist talk or whatever, and he sounded, you know what I'm saying? He made more sense than anybody that I heard talking about it or whatever. You know what I'm saying? He was basically well, all of this worship stuff that people think is going on. He's like, man, that's not what we doing. He say this is our religion or whatever. Of course, there are always radicals in every religion. You know what I'm saying? But he say as far as what we believe, it's just like it's just an interpretation or whatever. Just like he say how people interpret the Bible, that God is the Almighty and all that type of stuff or whatever. He believes and his people believe that Satan is anti-tyranny or whatever. So he believes that from a spiritual standpoint or whatever, that they're anti-tyrannist or whatever. You know what I'm saying? That the devil, basically Satan, whoever, Lucifer, whatever you want to call them, was casted from heaven. Yeah, all that because of he was anti-tyranny from God. God, exactly. So, but he's not saying we sacrificing babies and all this type of shit. This is just our belief. You know what I'm saying? This is what we believe. This is how we worship and stuff. The same way y'all go to church, we go to our lodge or church or whatever you want to call it and stuff like that or whatever. And that's what we believe in. We just anti-tyranny. Simple as that. You know what I'm saying? And so most people don't get that message because, like you say, on television, all we see is what we think devil worship is, sacrificing babies and all that. But if we look at it, I mean, I come from a Christian background, and was it not sacrifice when Abraham was about to kill Isaac or whatnot? Yeah. You know what I'm saying?
If somebody did that today, they would have a mental issue, right?
Exactly. Yeah. So we've been had sacrificing going on in the Bible and stuff like that or whatever. So it's all about interpretation. And it seems like over the years, these people's story have gotten lost. I don't really think they care or whatever, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. But it is.
I don't know if their story ever got lost. I think their story never was in, like, people never knew. And to be honest with you, their story may have originated after the original idea of what Satan came about, But I mean, I still think like,
well, that you know what, that's a lot of Christianity as well, though. Because you got the Greek Orthodox or the Roman Orthodox, whichever one of them, they think that they're the ultimate Christian and everybody else is playing games or whatever. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, they may be right. Shit, I guess we all find out one day.